edge of a wave, palm sweat, can't wait.
Hey guys, welcome to Turn Motorsport. Don't want to spend too much time in here. I guess we'll go check out the real stuff out back. We run a professional race team. We compete in races all around North America. Just this year, we won 2 major races, one of which was the Petit Le Mans in Atlanta, and we finished second in the 2019 championship. This is the service area. We do everything from that basic maintenance that a dealership would do, all the way up to upgraded suspension, upgraded exhaust, tires, wheels, brakes, engine tuning. I mean, we pretty much do it all. We have a full fab shop behind there. We can kind of custom fabricate anything, whether it's a hanger for an exhaust or a mount for a radiator. We got the tire and wheel mounting machines and balancers. We will head into the race shop. We got some action. Paul's primary job is fueling the race cars during the races. Lucas is the guy with the tire gun, gets down and changes the tires in 3 seconds. We have the dyno. It basically has ramps that go down that are over there, and you can back a car up on top of it. Typically, we can see gains of 50 to 100 horsepower or more, depending on what's done to the car. This is one of the transporters. We have 2 of these. These go 40,000 miles a year all around the country. You can fit 2 cars up top, and all through the bottom, which I'll show you, is the tools, equipment, spare parts, and whatever else that we need to run the cars and fix them if they crash. This is where the guys work on a full-time basis and get all the work done, prep the cars, then they go into the trailers and they're off to the races. So what we're really excited about is the Turnicorn M3 over here. We've been working on it for months. You guys are one of the first people to come and check it out in person. It's one of the coolest BMWs that were ever built, the E46 M3, combined with one of the best engines that was ever built and put in a street car by BMW. It's actually all coming together and starting to look like the project we hoped for. Hopefully we all get to drive it. Kim will definitely drive it. Bill Oberlin will definitely drive it to shake it down and make sure it meets the standards of Mr. BMW.
The engine mounts, now that they're here, we're really starting to see a lot of progress with other components of the engine and the other parts of the car that fit around it. Now that it's here, we can finally get going on the headers.
The past few weeks, we've actually made some really good progress. So it feels good to be able to actually spend a good amount of time on the car and get some projects completed.
I actually think the wheels might be here. We're doing something a little bit different in these wheels. We want to have them kind of be understated, yet aggressive. It's a black car. I think the wheels we chose are going to look great. I can't wait to hold them up. You know, how we built these headers is cool in itself, right? Because the old day, you would actually take the header material and you'd cut it up and you'd weld it on the engine. And as you guys have seen in some of the videos, the orange Legos that Brew has been building for the last weeks, you know, we've gotten past that part, and now we've gotten the paths where the headers are going to go, and we've ordered the mandrel bends that are actually we're going to cut and weld together, and they've showed up. So the next step is for Brew to finish it up.
So we finally have the Super Sprint exhaust fitted, and basically we've been working from the back of the car forward. So we've got the Super Sprint muffler installed, the section 2, and then that actually leads up into their V8 swap, section 1, which is really cool that Super Sprint actually makes this for this car, because this car never came with any sort of V8, but the fitment of this piece is actually going to work really well for this project. We've added these stainless bellows and the merge collectors. And then from there, I am finally now able to work on the headers and get the design finalized. So I've made this kind of quick and somewhat ugly, basically jig to hold the collectors in position, and that kind of allows me to work around everything and make sure nothing is moving. It's going to be really difficult to actually put these back into the car, but I think we're going to try to design it in a way that you know, makes the car somewhat serviceable in the future.
Hello, Rob.
What I have here,
What are those?
wheels from Forge Line.
Oh, really? I've been expecting these.
I'm so excited to open these with you.
Well, I just happen to have some scissors.
Let's open this box.
Okay. Are you ready?
Let's give this a shot.
We can both take part in unboxing this. Oh, Rob. Oh, they're gonna look great. The finish is awesome, it's perfect.
I'm super excited about the wheels. The wheels it's gonna look great. I want to try to fit them on the car, but I don't really want to kind of go there just yet.
One of the things that I really like about Forge Line is their ability to custom make kind of whatever we want. So here we wanted a wheel that was super aggressive as far as fitment goes. You know, when this wheel goes on the car, there's going to be very little gap between the tire and the fender, but also it's not going to rub. So we're going to push the limits, and Forge Line helped us pick the sizing and stuff to push the limits. Super lightweight. You know, Rob probably couldn't pick that up as easily as I can. Thanks, Forge Line, for hooking us up with these, and look forward to getting them on there. One of the things that we got to take into account is the proximity of the headers to the fuel lines and to the brake lines of the car. Shielding them from the heat with some, I think it's reflective, heat-proof, whatever, super duper NASA space shuttle stuff. And we got new stuff, not used, putting on there to keep the brake lines and the fuel lines cool. Again, the proximity of the headers to that stuff is tighter than it is on some other cars, so we want to make sure that that's done right. We're doing a lot of custom work, but I want this custom work to look great. I want it to look like BMW did it, or even BMW Plus did it. You know, Turner did it. Kim's been taking a lot of time and working out the details, and between the fuel lines and the brake lines, I mean, they look awesome, so I'm super proud of the little attention to details that Kim's doing on that stuff. It's gonna look great.
Bruisman were working a lot on the front of the engine. We finally got their first glimpse of what the front radiator is going to look like with this engine going to clearance properly, what fan we're going to be running. He made a lot of brackets for that, making great progress with that.
So from up top, you can see the upper mount that I've made that actually fits into the channel on the top of the radiator, bolts to the radiator, and then the fan simply just slides right on from the top, just like it does from the factory. Did a little bit of trimming to this piece to allow this to basically drop right on, fit like factory, and I think it turned out pretty good.
So Kim's been making some templates and cutting some carbon out, and it's going to come out really nice because it's going to really look like it was meant to be there, but it's also going to look a little bit racy and a little bit cool because of the carbon fiber element. So I'm psyched about it. It's looking great.
Chose to go with a carbon sheet. So we have that fitted to the car now. Gotta make some brackets for that and figure out the material that we're using to cover it and just how we really want that to look, whether or not be, I think we're gonna go with like looking as factory as possible, so using materials of the car that are in the car for these sheets so that it looks like it was a factory piece. There's a lot of Alcantara in the car, so we are gonna try to find Alcantara that matches that is in the car, not necessarily just a black carpet that you can get at a regular automotive store. Or that's also gonna match the seats that we got too for the car. So it's all gonna tie in really nicely.
I started working on the cooling system, basically the whole front end assembly, which is the AC condenser, the radiator, which is an upgraded aluminum unit, as well as the E92 M3 electric fan, which is this massive electric fan that's going to be controlled by the Motec system. So the car will have a lot of cooling capacity with that, and it was kind of a challenge to get it in there, but was able to make it fit.
The E46 is a 6-cylinder, and what we're putting in is an 8-cylinder. So we have to make sure that all these capacities are increased, and fitting that into a small area is a little bit of a challenge, but we've contacted the radiator manufacturer and told them the space we need and the volume of coolant that we need to flow. The same thing with the air conditioning and the oil cooler. So we have the pieces, and they have fit in perfectly, and we're taking up all the available airflow to keep this car keep this motor cool.
There are some issues with the wiring that Brew is working with somebody outside here to kind of solve. So I'd be interested to see how they're going to work that, because right now it's just, you know, a wiring harness.
I mean, we're getting close. Like, we don't have any roadblocks now. But again, the list is long and we got a lot of work ahead of us.
We're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Now that the prototype of the headers is made, we ordered a bunch of the exhaust piping that we're going to be using for that. So there's going to be a lot of cutting, so it's really great to see that header come together, the final piece of the header that come together.